Life is like a road with good and bad times. We often struggle with our strengths and weaknesses. We all want to live a strong and meaningful life, but some habits stop us from being our best. This guide will talk about 8 habits that make us weak and how to get rid of them using Stoicism. Stoicism is an old Greek idea, started by Zeno of Citium long ago. It gives us great advice for today's life. It tells us to focus on what we can change, to grow qualities like being wise, brave, disciplined, and to face life's tough times with calmness and strength. As we learn about these 8 habits, remember knowing them in ourselves is the first step to change. By seeing and understanding these habits, we start changing them with Stoic ideas. This helps us live a life full of strength, purpose, and peace inside. Before we dive into these transformative insights, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more empowering content. And please watch the video all the way through without skipping any parts. It ensures you get the full benefit of what we're about to share. Let's embark on this journey together. Habit 1. Overcoming procrastination. Procrastination, the tendency to delay important tasks, is a common habit that undermines our determination and slows our progress. It wastes valuable time that could be spent on personal development and worthwhile activities. To combat procrastination, the Stoic philosophy of carpe diem, or seizing the day, becomes vital. Stoicism teaches us to concentrate on the present, making the most of every moment. Procrastination, conversely, often stems from fear of the future or discomfort associated with a task. To conquer this habit, it's essential to adopt a Stoic attitude, focusing on what is within our control and letting go of what isn't. The Stoic thinker Epictetus encouraged us to concentrate on our immediate actions, disregarding unhelpful preoccupations with potential outcomes or task difficulties. By shifting our focus to the process rather than the result, we can escape the grasp of procrastination. Begin with small, achievable goals and persistently work toward them. Accept the discomfort and uncertainty of now, as these challenging moments are when we grow and build the resilience needed for bigger tasks. Remember, time is limited, and every day we postpone is a day we can't get back. Surround yourself with people who inspire your best, as Epictetus said, for their influence can help you harness your full potential and make the most of the time you have. Habit 2. Tackling negative self-talk. Negative self-talk, the habit of speaking harshly to oneself, greatly affects our self-esteem, confidence, and overall mental health. It diminishes our sense of self-worth and hinders us from achieving our full potential. Stoicism offers a solution by teaching us to control our thoughts, replacing negative patterns with rational and compassionate thinking. Marcus Aurelius, a prominent Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, highlighted the significant role our thoughts play in shaping our lives. He advocated for a positive, rational approach to our internal dialogue, understanding that our perception of the world is largely influenced by our thoughts. To counter negative self-talk, start by noticing your thoughts without judgment. Identify moments of self-criticism or doubt and question their validity. Are these thoughts factual, or are they born from fear and insecurity? Stoicism encourages practicing self-compassion, urging us to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we would offer a friend in a similar situation. Rather than scolding yourself for mistakes or perceived flaws, focus on what you can learn and how to improve. This shift from negative self-talk to embracing Stoic principles of rationality and compassion will unlock a newfound inner strength and resilience. This transformation enables you to confront life's challenges with greater confidence and grace, just as Marcus Aurelius advised that our lives are shaped by our thoughts. Habit 3. Overcoming the fear of challenges. Habit number 3. Avoiding challenges limits our growth and potential. Staying in our comfort zones prevents us from developing virtues like patience, courage, and adaptability. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy, encourages facing discomfort and difficulties as paths to self-improvement. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus believed that personal growth comes from confronting challenges and expanding our boundaries. In today's society, many prefer convenience and immediate satisfaction, which might offer short-term ease but can obstruct long-term growth. By shying away from challenges, we miss out on opportunities for self-exploration and development. Stoicism teaches us that true strength comes from facing hardships with patience and resilience. Constantly seeking comfort and avoiding difficulties can stagnate our personal and intellectual growth. Stoics advise stepping out of our comfort zones and engaging in tasks that stretch our limits. This not only broadens our abilities, but also builds confidence and personal fulfillment. Moreover, avoiding challenges can instill a fear of failure. When we always choose the safer path, we lose out on learning from mistakes and becoming stronger. Stoicism views failure as a natural and instructive part of life. However, it's important to understand that seeking discomfort in Stoicism doesn't mean pursuing unnecessary suffering. It's about accepting challenges with a calm and rational mindset, recognizing that discomfort is part of life that leads to growth. By actively seeking challenges, we develop personal control and rely more on our inner strength than external situations. Stoic principles encourage us to focus on what we can control: our thoughts, actions, and reactions. This approach reduces our dependency on external factors for happiness and well-being. Applying these principles helps us face life with purpose and patience, better equipped to handle difficulties, failures, and surprises. To adopt a Stoic mindset, it's crucial to be open-minded and willing to challenge our existing beliefs and habits. By acknowledging our tendency to avoid discomfort and embracing the Stoic approach to challenges, we can cultivate a strong, flexible mindset focused on personal development. So, embrace discomfort and challenges and embark on a journey of self-discovery and improvement. Habit 4. Resisting excessive materialism. The fourth habit to address is excessive materialism. Stoic philosophy places more importance on ethical values and inner virtues rather than external possessions. In a world dominated by consumerism, it's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of material wealth, mistakenly thinking it will bring happiness and fulfillment. Stoicism teaches us that external possessions are temporary and often beyond our control. Relying on them for happiness leads to continuous disappointment and dissatisfaction. When we base our self-worth and happiness on material items, it creates an endless cycle of wanting more. This obsession with accumulating wealth and acquiring the latest gadgets can lead to perpetual dissatisfaction, as there's always something new to want or someone who has more. Seneca, a renowned Stoic philosopher, stressed the need to differentiate between desires and needs. Excessive materialism arises from an insatiable desire for more and the mistaken belief that possession brings lasting happiness. Stoicism urges us to re-evaluate our desires, aligning them with our values and well-being. To counteract materialism, begin by practicing contentment with what you have. Understand that chasing material possessions often leads to a cycle of desire and dissatisfaction. Instead, focus on cultivating virtues such as wisdom, courage, and compassion, which are true sources of satisfaction. Stoic philosophy suggests shifting our focus from material goods to inner virtues. Qualities like wisdom, courage, equanimity, and justice are within our control and can lead to lasting contentment. By valuing these virtues and striving to develop them, we find deeper purpose and satisfaction. Excessive attachment to materialism can also foster insecurity and anxiety. It may cause us to worry about losing what we have or to compare ourselves unfavorably to others. This attachment creates a cycle of fear and envy, preventing us from living peacefully. Stoicism promotes detachment, not by abandoning material possessions, but by forming a healthy relationship with them, viewing them as tools for improvement rather than as sources of validation or happiness. Practicing gratitude, appreciating what we have, and focusing on what truly matters helps cultivate contentment and reduce attachment to material things. Minimalism, simplifying life, and discarding unnecessary distractions can also help free us from the shackles of materialism. By embracing these Stoic practices, we can focus on developing virtues, nurturing meaningful relationships, and contributing positively to society. This shift in mindset leads to genuine satisfaction and a life guided by Stoic principles. Remember, excessive attachment to material possessions diverts us from inner virtues and true contentment. By acknowledging the transient nature of external things and practicing detachment, we can break free from the desire cycle and find fulfillment in virtue development and Stoic living. Habit 5. Overcoming the need for external validation. Habit number 5, seeking external validation, can diminish the effectiveness of Stoic philosophy in our lives. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of internal virtues over seeking approval from others. Excessive reliance on external approval undermines self-reliance and can make us overly dependent on others' opinions. In today's social media-driven society, the quest for external approval is prevalent. We often base our self-worth and happiness on likes, comments, and followers, which can lead to fragile self-esteem contingent on others' views and validation. However, Stoicism reminds us that true happiness and contentment originate from within. Stoic philosophers advocate for cultivating virtues like wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. These qualities are independent of external validation and can be developed regardless of our external circumstances. When we incessantly seek others' approval, we surrender our power, becoming vulnerable to changing opinions and allowing our self-esteem to hinge on their acceptance. For example, imagine writing a blog post you're proud of. Instead of valuing your own work and the satisfaction it brings, you might seek approval through online feedback. If the response falls short of expectations, you could feel disheartened and question your work's worth. This dependency on external validation weakens your confidence and diminishes the intrinsic value of your efforts. To counter this habit, it's crucial to recognize that external approval is transient and often beyond our control. Instead, focus on developing internal virtues and aligning your actions with Stoic principles. Practicing self-awareness and self-acceptance is key. When the urge to seek approval arises, question its alignment with your values and goals. Understand that your worth is determined by your character and actions, not by others' opinions. Building confidence in your own judgment is essential. Evaluate your actions based on Stoic virtues rather than external comparisons. Remember, happiness and contentment come from within, not from external sources. Create a supportive community that values and encourages your growth, and seek feedback from those who have your best interests at heart, but don't let their opinions define you. In summary, the constant pursuit of external validation weakens our practice of Stoic philosophy. By acknowledging the futility of relying on others' opinions for self-assessment, we can focus on developing inner virtues and finding happiness from within. Cultivating self-awareness and surrounding ourselves with a supportive community can enhance our practice of Stoic philosophy, leading to a more ethical and fulfilling life. Habit 6. Handling negative emotions. Habit 6 is about the inability to cope with negative emotions, which can challenge our practice of Stoic philosophy. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of reason over emotions. However, when overwhelmed by negative emotions like anger, envy, or fear, we may lose our composure and fail to act virtuously. Negative emotions can overpower reason and cloud judgment. Anger can lead to impulsive actions or words we later regret. Envy can foster resentment and bitterness, damaging relationships. Fear can paralyze us, preventing us from taking necessary risks or facing challenges. These emotions hinder sound decision-making and impede our progress in virtues like patience, kindness, and self-control. In Stoicism, emotions are viewed as impressions stemming from our evaluations of the world. We have control over these evaluations and, consequently, our emotions. By practicing mindfulness and self-awareness, we can examine and challenge the thoughts that lead to negative emotions. aligning them with reason and ethics. Stoic philosophy introduces the concept of apatheia, often misunderstood as emotional detachment. It's not about suppressing emotions, but about developing resilience and maintaining tranquility in difficult situations. Stoics see negative emotions as natural, but encourage responding with reason, wisdom, and self-control. To overcome the habit of succumbing to negative emotions and strengthen our Stoic practice, consider these strategies. 1. Cultivate mindfulness. Practice mindfulness to become aware of emotions as they arise. This awareness allows us to pause and choose a rational response rather than reacting impulsively. 2. Question your evaluations. When negative emotions surface, examine the underlying evaluations. Are they accurate or distorted by biases or irrational beliefs? Restructuring these evaluations can change your perspective and diminish the intensity of negative emotions. 3. Practice self-reflection. Regularly reflect on your thoughts, actions, and their consequences. Identify patterns that trigger negative emotions and explore alternative reactions. Self-reflection helps in identifying growth areas and developing emotional management strategies. 4. Seek virtue instead of revenge. In moments of anger or resentment, focus on virtue rather than revenge or hostility. Consider the long-term consequences of actions based on negative emotions and strive for kindness, understanding, and forgiveness. 5. Embrace serenity. Accept what you cannot control and focus on what is within your control. Develop a tranquil mindset, recognizing that external events and others' actions are beyond your control, which can help find inner calm and lessen the impact of negative emotions. Applying these strategies consistently can help weaken the habit of succumbing to negative emotions and strengthen our Stoic practice. Remember, this process requires time and effort. Each setback is an opportunity for growth and learning. Commit to Stoic principles of self-awareness and perseverance on your journey towards a more virtuous and satisfying life. In summary, allowing negative emotions to dictate our actions undermines Stoicism. By cultivating mindfulness, questioning evaluations, practicing self-reflection, seeking virtue, and embracing serenity, we can reduce the influence of negative emotions, aligning with Stoicism's ideals of rationality, resilience, and inner tranquility for a more virtuous and fulfilling life. Habit 7. Letting go of past mistakes. Habit 7, dwelling on past mistakes, can impede our practice of Stoic philosophy. Stoicism teaches us to focus on the present, accept past occurrences, and learn from mistakes rather than constantly dwelling on them. However, many of us get caught in a cycle of regret, guilt, and self-blame, hindering our progress and ability to enjoy the present. Repeatedly replaying past mistakes in our minds reinforces negative emotions and creates a sense of stagnation. This habit not only disrupts our peace and contentment, but also prevents us from making positive changes. A core principle of Stoicism is the understanding that we cannot change the past. Epictetus, a renowned Stoic philosopher, said that our fear and dismay come not from external events, but from how we think about them. This highlights the role of our thoughts and perceptions in shaping our experiences. Focusing on past mistakes engulfs us in negative thoughts and emotions, leading to unnecessary suffering. Stoicism encourages us to accept and take responsibility for our past actions, focusing on improving ourselves and our current circumstances. To break free from dwelling on past mistakes, it's crucial to practice compassion and forgiveness towards ourselves. Recognizing that making mistakes is part of growth and learning, and shifting our perspective on mistakes from failures to valuable lessons can be transformative. Every mistake is an opportunity for growth and self-improvement. Mindfulness is another powerful tool in combating this habit. It involves focusing on the present moment without judgment, allowing us to break free from the cycle of regret and fully engage in current experiences. Additionally, developing a habit of gratitude redirects our attention away from past mistakes, focusing instead on the positive aspects of life and fostering satisfaction. Overcoming the habit of dwelling on past mistakes requires a conscious effort and commitment to Stoic principles. Remember, we have the power to choose how we react to our past. Dwelling on mistakes only prevents us from living a fulfilling and virtuous life. By letting go of the past and embracing self-compassion, practicing mindfulness, and developing gratitude, we can lessen the hold of this habit and cultivate a more Stoic perspective. Strive to free yourself from the chains of regret about the past and embrace Stoic teachings for a more meaningful and virtuous life. Focus on the present moment and the pursuit of virtue, learning from past mistakes and growing as an individual. Habit 8. Valuing the well-being of others. The 8th habit, ignoring the well-being of others, goes against the Stoic philosophy's emphasis on cosmopolitanism, the idea that we are all part of a larger human community and should be concerned with everyone's well-being. Neglecting the needs and suffering of others can diminish our empathy and moral virtue, impeding the development of ethical qualities. Stoicism urges us to live in harmony with nature and cultivate virtues such as wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. A key virtue in Stoic philosophy is benevolence or goodwill towards others. Ignoring the welfare of others violates this principle, leading to disconnection from our fellow human beings. Indifference to others' struggles, needs, and suffering can take many forms, such as insensitivity to the pain of the less fortunate or failing to offer support or assistance. By neglecting the welfare of others, we lose opportunities to practice empathy and compassion, essential for moral character development. Stoicism teaches us to treat all individuals with respect, consideration, and empathy, recognizing our interconnectedness. This nurtures empathy and guides us to act in ways that promote others' well-being. Ignoring others' welfare also means missing out on the benefits of kindness and benevolence. Studies have shown that acts of kindness benefit both the recipient and the giver, enhancing the giver's well-being. Actively seeking others' well-being brings satisfaction, purpose, and connection. Furthermore, disregarding others' welfare reinforces a self-centered mindset, hindering personal development. Stoicism posits that true happiness and contentment come from living virtuously and aligning actions with reason and ethics. Ignoring others' welfare leads to selfishness and self-interest, straying from these fundamental truths. To counter this habit and strengthen our Stoic practice, we should nurture empathy and goodwill. This can be achieved by understanding others' perspectives, practicing acts of kindness, and embracing benevolence. By doing so, we reinforce our Stoic practice and contribute to a compassionate, harmonious world. We become agents of positive change, promoting others' well-being and fostering community. In summary, ignoring the welfare of others weakens our Stoic practice. By nurturing empathy and goodwill, actively learning about and engaging with others, and practicing kindness, we can strengthen our Stoic principles, create a more compassionate world, and lead a virtuous, fulfilling life. Conclusion. In understanding the importance of empathy and goodwill, we can actively work to overcome the habit of ignoring others' well-being and cultivate a deeper concern for all humanity. This effort not only strengthens our character, but also contributes to a more ethical and compassionate society. Through exploring the 8 habits that weaken us, we have immersed ourselves in the wisdom of Stoic philosophy and its principles that help us overcome these habits. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we control, nurture virtues, and face life's challenges with courage and patience. It guides us to find happiness in the present, let go of the need for external approval and material possessions, and step out of our comfort zones. It also encourages learning from the past without being held back by regret. As you embark on transforming weaknesses into strengths, remember that change requires time and effort. Be patient with yourself and regularly practice Stoic principles in your daily life. With dedication and perseverance, you can break free from these habits and lead a purposeful, resilient, and tranquil life. Embrace Stoic teachings, seek inner acceptance, replace complaints with gratitude, prioritize virtue over material wealth, confront challenges with bravery, and release past burdens. This transformational journey will lead you to a life of strength, wisdom, and enduring happiness. The journey is personal, and the potential for change lies within your reach. Thank you for watching this video. We invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this content helpful, please like and share it with others who might benefit. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and we hope you'll continue to follow us as we learn and grow together. Seize today and transform your life with Stoic philosophy.